Hi budget friends, it's Financial Friday again. I hope you had a wonderful week. Let's jump right in because I have a lot of questions from you guys. Starting off with the ones that I didn't get to answer last week. Alexa Brianna asks, can you share a black budget sheet? I think she means blank budget sheet. Is there a limit on the cash you take out per day on your Capital One checking account? Most banks only allow $300 per day. I will share a blank copy of my budget. I have a video that I will link below that allows you to do that. As for a cash withdrawal limit per day for my Capital One account, I have no idea. I'm sorry. I do know that I have checks for both my local bank and my Capital One bank, and anytime I have to pay rent or a bigger bill, something like that, I can write a check for more than $300. I would can look online. I can't think of many situations where you'd have to get that much cash out all at once. You have to look on the website. I'm so sorry. All right, Rhiannon Beely says, why don't you use EveryDollar? I have another video that I've done. It was a review of EveryDollar and why I use my spreadsheet instead of EveryDollar. I did try it out. I think it's a great tool. It's just not complex enough for me. I like my spreadsheet. That's the short answer. The long answer in the video below. All right. Willie Jones asks, we are debt-free with our fully funded emergency fund. Now we are saving for many things such as a newer car, roof replacement, and we would love to enjoy our debt freedom, some with a vacation this year, but I feel overwhelmed saving so much all at once versus focusing on one thing at a time, like the baby steps taught us. How do you prioritize savings? Do you think it's best to fund one goal at a time or fund a little in all? Thanks, BG, Brandy, and Georgia. Hey, so here's the thing. You're past baby step 3 now, and the way I think about the baby steps is it teaches you to break things down, because focusing on one thing at a time helps you kind of break down something really big and confusing into steps that you can take to win. You've won. Like, you've got your fully funded emergency fund. You're in the, like, let's enjoy our money, let's live our lives stage. So yeah, things are going to be a little bit more complicated than when you first started. So yeah, you're going to be funding your retirement. You're going to be funding kids' college accounts. You're going to be funding vacations. It's okay. Like, you don't have this money going to debt anymore. You don't have money necessarily just going to like emergency fund savings. You have to diversify now. You've graduated. So yes, don't just say, okay, we're only gonna everything but our vacation is out. We're just gonna focus on vacation, then just on kids. Spread your money out. Think about the goals that you want. Of course, you can't throw money at everything. There's a finite amount of money, but you can decide what's important to you, and you can totally fund different categories. If you did sinking funds while you were in debt, if you ever were in debt, then it was kind of the same way, but this is on a bigger scale because you have your whole paycheck to work with now. So congratulations to you for getting this far in the baby steps, and don't be afraid to allocate certain percentages here and there and there and the other thing. It's not as complicated as you would think. Just think about what's important to you and then pursue it. You have the skills. All right. Fernanda Medina asks, 052809 asks, hi budget girl, love your channel. Here's my question. My husband and I are currently on BS2 and will be debt free this year. We are renting a house, but our school district got a 4 out of 10 rating. Our 4-year-old will start kindergarten in the fall. She's a bright kid and already knows how to read. I was reading at that age too. Should we pause it at Snowball and pile up some money and move to a better school district? Let's see. You're going to be debt free this year, and this is kindergarten. I wouldn't make a change for kindergarten. If buying a house in a good school district or renting a house in a good school district is something that is on your list, and I completely understand why it would be, that's great. I'd go ahead and get out of debt first, though, because I mean, I've been in kindergarten and I've seen kindergarten, and there's not a ton going on there. I don't think that staying where you are for a year is really going to hurt your daughter's academic interests, especially since you said she's already bright. You can obviously educate her at home as well. I don't think kindergarten is a huge deal, and there may be parents out there that disagree with me. Keep in mind, I don't have kids, but you're going to be out of debt this year. That's close. I wouldn't pause your debt snowball. I would finish your debt snowball, then pile up some money, move to a better school district where your daughter can get a good education. That's just what I would do. Take it with a grain of salt. All right. Megan Vetchnell says, how long were you unemployed? That's always a terrifying time. I remember the month after I graduated, my husband and I moved to Atlanta with no job. I'm glad you'll be out of debt soon. I was unemployed, which spurned this journey in 2012, 2013, I think, for 5 months. It was a long time. I was in Columbus, Mississippi. There was no newspaper to work at, and I was on unemployment, and I was looking for any newspaper job, and it took me 5 months to land the one in Hammond, and it was very hard. I turned down a couple of jobs that were for pagination hubs, and I don't think you're technically ever supposed to turn down a job if you're on unemployment, but these were like, they wanted me to move to like Ohio and work in a pagination center, which just puts together newspapers, like just does the layout for them, and I hate those. And they weren't offering me enough to live on, so I'm glad that I kind of held out and found a job where I was actually reporting, and it was a good place, but it was a very hard, very trying 5 months. All right. Kate Collins asks, do you do a separate budget for your stockpiled food? I want to start, but it always seems like it'll blow the budget if I buy things we aren't going to eat in the near future. No, I don't do a separate budget for my stockpile food. You could, if you wanted to, if one of your priorities was to build up a stockpile, you could add maybe $10 or $20 to your grocery budget a month. You'd have to take that from somewhere else in your budget, of course, and then earmark that for sale-priced items to stockpile. I don't. I think I've tried that in the past to try to earmark a certain amount, but it seems like when I do that, that's not when the deals are. So what I do is if I find an amazing deal, say 99 cents on boneless, skinless chicken breast, I rework my budget in the store, and I'll say, okay, I want to take advantage of this and buy 10 pounds of chicken. How much is that going to cost? And can I take that out of, say, next week's grocery budget, or I'll see how much grocery money I have for the rest of the month and just adjust. Because, you know, if I've got 10 pounds of chicken in the freezer, I can eat PBs and J's the next week. So, no, I don't personally do it. I think it's would be a good idea if that's something that's important to you. I've actually got a pretty decent stockpile on hand, especially in my pantry. So I don't do a lot of that right now. All right. Trish Campola says, I wish I could go yard selling with you. We'd make a great team. Do you plan your route out? Yep, I'm a hit and run kind of girl. I think this is on my garage sale video, which is actually my most watched video on YouTube. It's got like 20,000 hits, which for me is a viral video because most of the time these get like 1,000, 2,000 hits. I meticulously plan out my route, and then I usually throw it out the window. Not really. I've been doing this for a long time. I was raised yard selling, and what I do is I look on Craigslist. If I'm planning yard selling day, I look on Craigslist and I look in the paper and I check the Facebook swap groups, all of that, and I find the addresses that I think I want to hit these. They've got descriptions that sound good, and I put them all into Google Maps and I rearrange it until it's the most efficient route. And then what I do is, you know, we take off early, we start doing the route, and any yard sale signs that you see, though, you deviate from the plan. So if we're driving from location 2 to location 3 and we see a yard sale sign, oh, you betcha we're gonna run off the rails and go hit that yard sale and then get back on track. So that's the way I do it. Of course, you prioritize the yard sales you want to go to the most, and sometimes you don't end up hitting every single one that you've planned out, but I make really detailed plans and lists, and I'll make notes of like what's at these yard sales that they've said that we're interested in. So yeah, I'm an awesome yard sale buddy is what I'm saying. Anytime anyone wants to go, I'm in. You just have to get me to wake up. That's it. That's the only thing. All right. Rachel Fontaine says, hey, just a quick question. Don't you think it would be easier and quicker to put all your money into paying your debt rather than saving too? I'm not saving anything until my debt is paid off, which is hopefully December 2016, and then I intend to save. That is the Dave Ramsey plan. And I'm all for the Dave Ramsey plan, unless you, and I've talked to Dave about this before, like we're not buddies or anything, but I've called the show and I've said, Dave, I am a single 20-something girl in the newspaper industry, which is not known for being the most secure job market, and I have a crappy car, you know, at this time, and I just don't know what I'm gonna, and I don't have family really that would, you know, that can support me if I'm suddenly out of a job. Is $1,000 really enough? And he said, no, in your situation, you probably need $2,000 or $3,000 as your baby emergency fund. And I cannot tell you how many times that bigger baby emergency fund has saved my bacon. In fact, I will. Just last year, I had to move, which the actual relocation expenses were paid for by my job. I was very, very grateful for that. However, moving still costs money outside of that. Your deposits on your new place. Overall, it costs about $2,000 of my personal money to move to Mena, Arkansas. And if I hadn't had that bigger emergency fund, I would have been screwed. I couldn't have moved. I couldn't have taken advantage of this bigger, better job opportunity. And then my car. My bigger emergency fund was labeled my car fund for a really long time because I knew that that tracker wasn't going to live until my debt-free scream. That just wasn't realistic. If I had tried to pretend that it was going to live until then, I would have been huffing something. Like, I knew it wasn't going to happen. It's not a fairy pixie dream world. And that's the thing, is that your personal situation, you know better than anyone else. And sometimes a cookie cutter plan is not going to work exactly for you. And I ain't fitting into no cookie cutter. So here's the thing. In my personal situation, I feel like I need a slightly bigger savings than $1,000. For a while, that was a $5,000 car fund. Now, not so much. Now I have to think about what are the things that could potentially happen to me that would just completely derail my life. And right now, those are, I could get sick, you know, into a car accident, get hit or something. But I have medical insurance now, so that's not as big of a deal. I would find also medical debts work a little bit differently than regular debts. You can pay them off and they don't gain interest. Second major worry is, what if I lose my job? Now, there's no particular reason that I would lose my job. I'm pretty good at my job. I haven't done anything to do that, but sometimes that's not how life works. I've lost a job before because they found someone who would do it cheaper than me. And that's not my fault. My newspaper could be sold to a different company that decides they don't want a newspaper in Mena, Arkansas, and I could be out of a job. And in that particular instance, $1,000 isn't going to get me anywhere. That's all there is to it. So the reason that I'm also saving a little bit of money every month in addition to paying off my debt is because I feel more comfortable and more prepared with it. And I do think that if Dave's about anything, it's about being realistic and being prepared. Because like he says, it's gonna rain. You just don't know when. So that is why I advocate for me personally, and only me, to have a larger emergency fund. That way, it's kind of my get out of Dodge ticket. I lose my job, I can go travel somewhere else to get one. and not have to worry about having to charge anything or take on more debt. For your personal situation, $1,000 may be fine. If you're married, you know, the chances of both of you guys losing your job at the exact same time, a whole lot less likely. If you have a big family, or in a better situation there, but I'm just little old me here. So that's why I'm saving back up for a slightly bigger emergency fund. I'll probably stop at $2,000 or $3,000, and then continue to put all the rest of that money towards my debt. Long explanation, but I want you guys to understand my reasoning. And I feel like my reasoning is backed up by my life experiences in that every couple of years it rains. Sometimes twice in 1 year, like this last year. And I would rather have the money to deal with it than to have slightly less debt at the time and not have the money to deal with it. So that's why you can disagree with me if you want on this. This is one of those things I have done a lot of prayerful thinking about, and I'm pretty dang set on it. So, FYI. Good question, Rachel. All right, and good luck to you getting out of debt in December 2016 and then saving. Good job. Follow the baby steps. All right. Beautiful Dollface asks, I have a question for you. If you have both a car loan of $11,000 and a student loan of $29,000 and you get extra cash sporadically, would you put it on the car loan to pay it off faster or put it on the student loan? I love Dave Ramsey, and it sickens me knowing that I have to pay on this car loan that I had no business getting years ago. I just want to buckle down and see my student loans decrease, yet I want to pay my car off sooner so I can pay more on my student loans. What would you do? It sounds like you want to spend your money twice, which I understand, but you can't do that. So I recommend that you do the Dave plan, which is the Snowball Plan. Since your car debt is $11,000 and your student loan debt is $29,000, pay off the car first. That'll give you the momentum to keep paying off the student loan debt. Once your car is paid off, you can snowball all the money you were putting towards there, all that extra income to the student loan debt, knock it out even faster. You can do it. All right. Acts of Kindness asks, do the people you work with know you do YouTube videos in Louisiana and Arkansas? Some of them. I've never thought it was particularly my direct boss's business what I do in my off time. Just because that relationship is usually pretty, I don't know, I don't think they particularly care. And but most of my coworkers, no, I've never had an issue. I mean, I don't hide it from anyone, but I also don't run around screaming like, go look at my YouTube videos. This is what I'm doing when I'm not here. I also don't really advertise it on my personal Facebook page because most of the people I know in real life don't care. So, if some of my coworkers, actually most of my coworkers here, know that I have this, they care to varying degrees. At least one of them watches occasionally and leaves a comment. I don't think the rest do at all. So, and down in Arkansas, down in Louisiana, my coworkers knew, once again, cared to varying degrees. My coworker, Jacob, just thought I was an idiot. And my coworker Lauren was actually in a bunch of my videos, and so my friends down there also knew, and they were in videos. And no one here has been in a video yet. Still working on that whole making friends thing. But yes, some of my coworkers do know. I've never sat down with like my boss. Like it's never come up, either here or there, and was like, yeah, I do YouTube videos. That's a thing that happens. I don't know if they'd care or not. They probably wouldn't, except to the degree, like, if I was doing that while I was at work. And, you know, I'm not going to do that. So, yeah. All right, next. Leslie Paparaki asks, and about 70 of you also asked this question, wouldn't it be cheaper to just buy a lawnmower and do it yourself? $30 a pop seems like a serious overcharge unless your lawn is huge or you're doing hedges or trees. And I mentioned in my 2015 wrap-up and in other videos that I pay someone to do my lawn here. And that started before I even moved here, because I had part of my contract for the house is that I have to keep the yard maintained. I don't own a lawnmower. Obviously, I had to pay someone to do it. And the You know, I wasn't just going to run out and buy an expensive lawnmower. Several of you recommended push mowers or cheaper things. For right now, I am still feeling out this whole Arkansas thing. And it works out to $30 a month. Because I only get my yard done 6 months of the year. The rest of the time it's too cold. The grass doesn't grow. So right now I'm okay with that expense. It's a luxury. Yes. Is that $30 a month that could be going to my student loans? Yes. Do I also work every single weekend and greatly treasure my sleep on the rare day that I do not work? Yes. So for right now, mostly for the sake of time poverty and not having the equipment, I am having someone mow my lawn for me. Several of you said, like, find a high schooler to do it cheaper. When I meet one, I will. I've only had 2 people approach me and offer to do my lawn. I, sent out feelers when I first came here. Hey, who could do this for me? I need this done. $30, I think, is fair rate. It's okay for right now. If I find a lawnmower in good condition at a garage sale and I can't pass it up, maybe I'll start doing it myself. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm dealing with it for right now until I find a better option. So whether that's getting a lawnmower myself and sucking it up and doing it, finding someone cheaper to do it. I don't particularly want to own a lawnmower either. I don't foresee myself renting a lot of houses in the future. I prefer apartments for various reasons. And one of them being that I don't have to cut the grass. So, yeah, there's that for now. Probably don't like that answer. All right, the Reader Bug says, we pull our car registration fees out of our car maintenance fund. That makes the most sense for us. I've never counted our sinking funds up, but we have at least a dozen or so. I seem to always be able to find something to save for. Our bigger ones are in savings accounts, though I just keep track of the broken down amounts on my own. Also, I really don't want to burst any bubbles, but being debt-free and having $10K in the bank doesn't mean the big expenses don't matter. When your car starts to make noises or something unexpected comes up, it still gives you stress. I wonder what number I will have to hit in order for stuff like that to no longer be on the radar for me. All I know is I haven't hit it yet. In my last video, I was asked about baby step 3 and how long it would take me to get through it, and it was the first time I crunched the numbers. And I was very excited that my BS3 number is about $10,000. And once I'm out of debt, that'll only take me a year, which is really cool. And so I talked about how having no debt and $10,000 in the bank would be so freeing to me. And yes, the Reader Bug, I understand that having $10K in the bank doesn't mean that big expenses won't matter. I was just saying that that'll be a better financial position than I've ever been in, even once in my life. And while the big expenses will matter, I'll have a better spot to stand in which to deal with them. So yes, there's always something to save for. Yes, there's always rain around the corner. I promise you, I am well acquainted with that. And I also don't know what number will I need to have in the bank to really just not worry anymore. I don't know if there is a number that'll make me not worry anymore. But I know that having a $10,000 in the savings account will make my car rumbling a little. It'll make me worry a lot less with that money in the bank, because that's enough to fix it. And if it's not enough to fix it, it's enough to buy a new car that'll work. So, you didn't burst my bubble, but I stand by what I said. I'm really looking forward to that, and I think I will worry less with $10,000 in the bank. All right, Rachel Fontaine asked, didn't you ask? Oh, you did. You asked another question. What is a sinking fund? I'm from the UK, and I don't use that term. Sinking funds is when you know you have an expense coming up in the future, and you save a fragmented amount of that each month, so you'll have enough when that expense comes up. I will link a video below where I explain that a little bit better and tell you about the other sinking funds that I have. It's an excellent tool to use for anything that's coming up that you want to plan for, so you know you'll have the money there when you need it. Maybe in the UK you'll call them something else. Let me know. All right, Tori Hunter says, what is the one piece of financial advice your brother and his wife would suggest to those that are younger than them heed? I didn't ask them, but I think I can guess. And that would probably be to control your money, not take on debt. And for Beth, I think she would say to always be saving a little bit of money for the future in a fund that you don't touch. And so there's always a little bit of a nest egg there for you when you need it. And I think those are good pieces of advice. And they've given me all three of those pieces of advice before. All right. Shelby Chanel says, I'm skipping BS1 for now, $1,000 emergency fund, just until I pay the overage on my credit card off, about $400, because I can't stand getting charged the $29 overage fee on top of my interest each month. I have $1,400 in a GIC that I can use if I really need to, and it should only be one more month that I'm doing this instead of BS1. I work my butt off, but overtime is not an option at this time of the year since I work in the restaurant industry and now is the slower season. I've worked 2 jobs once before, but I can't take it. It's not worth my mental health. I had breakdowns. Okay. I guess you just want an opinion on this. You should probably get current on that. There's no sense in getting a $29 fee constantly while you've got money sitting there in the bank. I would urge you, since that's not much money, you said you can do it in a month, get that the heck out of the way. Get current on that bill. It's a credit card. Go ahead, get current on that bill, then get your $1,000 emergency fund, and don't take on any more debt. Don't do it. Charges like that are just a stupid tax, and they'll drain you dry. So, yeah, it sounds like you're dealing with this okay. If you can't make any more money, it sounds like you're doing the best that you can. I don't know what a GIC is, so I can't tell you to take $1,400 out of there. Maybe it's some sort of retirement account, which if it is, do not do that. Yeah, get rid of that. Get that bill current. Save your emergency fund. Start your snowball. All right, Donna Galvin says, hi, Budget Girl. I have a question about your checking and savings at Capital One 360. Do you have to have the money transferred in there from your regular checking account, or do you have a payroll deduction go directly to that? Does it take a long time to transfer money from your savings to your checking account if you need it to use one of your sinking funds? How much to open one do you need? All right. Well, you have to get the money in there somewhere, from somewhere. You can have it directly debited or direct deposited in. You can transfer it in from another bank. I've done both. Or you can use their check scanning app and have them cash a check for you directly to the thing. I think that takes 2 or 3 days, kind of like a regular check would. All right. Does it take a long time to transfer money from your savings to your checking account if you need to use from one of your sinking funds? No. That is instantaneous because they're all kind of in the same account. Any of my 11 sinking funds, I can transfer money from them to my checking account and be able to access it and pull it out, either cash or debit card. That happens like that, which is very nice. And how much to open one do you need? I have no idea. I think that depends on what kind of account you're opening. Probably about the same as any other bank account. Just go to Capital One 360 and they can tell you all of that. I just don't have comprehensive knowledge. All right. Kathy Lewis says, hey, Budget Girl, I don't comment much, but I love watching all of your videos. They really help keep me motivated. My question is, do you use all of your income tax money towards debt, or do you give yourself a small amount to spend on yourself and then put the rest toward debt? Hi, Kathy. I understand the inclination to basically take a portion of this income tax and use it as fun money. However, if you're budgeting, you should already have fun money and blow money, whatever you want to call it, personal money, budgeted into your budget. So I wouldn't do that. I would put all of And I've done this in the past. Last year and the year before, every single cent of my income tax went to my debt. The year before that, it went to my emergency fund. I would put every single cent of your tax return to your goals. I would not take it as like a Christmas bonus. We just had Christmas, you know, we had fun, party time. But this isn't a bonus. This isn't something that has been kind of like earned fun money or something like that. That should already be in your budget, your blow money. You should be able to have, you know, I have $50 a month that I spend my personal account. I don't need to take another $100, $200 out of my tax refund that I'm going to get and add it to that. There's no particular reason that I can see for you to do that other than just, I don't want to say greed. That would be a bad word. But I think that if you're in this plan, you'd get a lot more satisfaction by putting it either to savings, if you're in that step, or to debt, than you would by holding a little bit of that back to have fun with. Just my opinion. In the past, I've always seen my income tax return as an excellent opportunity to destroy a giant portion of my debt or a giant portion of the savings goal that I was doing. My personal budget was always kind of set aside from that. And I think the reason I do that is because in college, my return, my student loan return, which happens around this time, when you take out, they encourage you to take out more loans than you need to pay for school for lifestyle expenses. And what I would do with that every single year is I'd get my student loan return or my check from there, and I'd be like, I'm going to live off of this, but I'm going to take $100, $200 out and have fun with it first. And you're just never going to be satisfied. There's always going to be something else you want to buy. There's always going to be more that you want to do. So I would try to stay disciplined and take every single cent and knock out that debt. It's going to be so satisfying, I promise you. All right. Last question. All right. DDUM75. I just got a package from you. Thank you. How much time a month do you spend budgeting? Is there a quick and easy way to budget? Sorry if you already answered. The detailed budget just seems daunting to me. I know that we talk a lot about budgeting, and I talk a lot about what I'm doing in my budget, and it probably makes it seem like I spend more time budgeting than I do. The only thing that takes a lot of time is the end of the month wrap up. And that's mostly because I hate to do like percentages and calculations. And check everything. Basically, make sure that all of the transactions that I've made on my bank account have been logged in my budget and everything totals out, and I've logged that I've paid all my bills, and I'm just making sure that everything works. And then I calculate how much I get to put towards my loans and how much of that's going to be interest and all that jazz. And I total everything up. And that only takes about an hour and a half. Honestly, at the end of each month, I probably spend an hour or two on my budget reconciling everything. And then it takes about 20 seconds to make a copy of that budget, clear it, label it for the next month, and I'm ready to go. I spend a quick minute thinking about anything that might come up that month and see if I have to change anything. Normally that's a no. And then I probably spend 2 or 3 minutes, maybe 5, about 5 minutes once a week, really, logging my transactions. That's it. And the more often I do that, logging my transactions, the less time it takes me at the end of the month for reconciling my transactions. Now, I have been doing this for quite a while, for several years, so it takes me less time than it would probably take you to build a completely new budget. If the Excel sheets and all of that jazz that a lot of YouTubers do seem very daunting to you, try a program like EveryDollar or You Need a Budget or Mint and work up your budget in there. See how that works for you. Get used to just doing a zero-based thing and knowing where your money's going and figuring out how to do that. And then adjust as you need to for your lifestyle and for what makes sense in your brain. Don't be daunted. Or if you're a little daunted is okay, but power through. Try it anyway. I promise it gets easier. I cannot imagine living life without a budget now. I really think I'd feel naked. Like, what do I do? All right, there were a couple of questions I didn't get to today, but we're already at 35 minutes, so I have to let you go. Please ask your financial questions down below. Yell at me if you don't agree with something I said. That's fine. And I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Tomorrow is Saturday, and I will be celebrating my 28th birthday. So I will see you all on Monday. All right, I'll see you all soon. Bye.